if you hurt me, but you didn't mean it, does that mean that I'm not hurt? Just because somebody didn't intend to hurt you, it doesn't mean that the damage wasn't done.
Today, we have a Yellow Let's Talk regular, Najwa Zebian. After moving from Lebanon to Canada, she rediscovered writing while teaching young refugees. Now, through her books and poetry, Najwa is helping millions of people. Welcome to another episode of Yellow Let's Talk, the podcast that's changing the narrative one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Hani Dajani, and today we have a Yellow Let's Talk regular, Najwa Zebian. Thank you for coming on Yellow Let's Talk again.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, I feel like this is like the 5th time.
I know you're a regular. You're 100%. And just on behalf of the Yellow Let's Talk community and anyone who is listening, thank you so much for always making the time and for always inspiring us and healing us with your words.
Aww.
Yeah. And so today we want to talk about relationships. I know we've always talked about dating and heartbreak, but now let's assume we are in a healthy relationship. And I think the first question that always comes to mind is, how do you distinguish between a healthy relationship, a peaceful relationship, or if you're just bored or if it's boring? So what's the difference between a peaceful relationship and a boring relationship?
Sometimes a peaceful relationship is boring because you don't have the toxic fights over things that in the grand scheme of things don't really mean anything. So sometimes people mistake peace for boredom and they think, oh, I'm not meant to be with this person because I'm bored. But you have to ask yourself the question, are you bored or are you just in a healthy, good place for you that doesn't bring up triggers for you, that doesn't make you feel like you have to fight to defend yourself or fight to be loved or heard or seen? So these are some of the questions you should ask yourself to figure out if it's a peaceful relationship. Do you feel respected, genuinely respected by your partner? Do they listen to you? Do they make you feel like they understand you? And at times when maybe they struggle to understand you, are they interested in figuring out how to understand you? Do they take the time to show you that they care? If they notice that something's upsetting you, or, you know, we always notice with the people closest to us a change in the way they're talking, a change in the way that they're moving, that something is wrong with them. And we call that in relationships, there's a word for it, it's called attunement. So is your partner attuned to you? Do they notice these little changes in your behavior, these little changes in maybe the volume of your voice? Do they notice that you're moving a little bit slower than usual, that you're drifting into space as you're having dinner? And do they ask you, is everything okay? Is there something I can do for you?
So I love that. So that healthy relationships could also be boring. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have one or the other. And who says boring is a bad thing anyways, right? Boring can sometimes just mean something that's peaceful. And then you just mentioned the concept of attunement. And I love that. This is the first time I hear this concept. But what I'm thinking right now is, like, I'm entering into a relationship. When should I expect to feel this type of attunement? Like, when is it too unrealistic to expect that? Or when should I start expecting, like, oh, this person kind of is noticing these things and I can appreciate that?
I think you have to notice attunement right from the beginning, because attunement shows that the person that you're with is interested in you as a person. They're interested in learning about you. How do you express yourself? Do you keep eye contact when you talk? Because all of a sudden, when you stop keeping that eye contact, are they going to notice? And are they going to say, is something going on? Something bothering you? Did I maybe say something, or did something happen at work? From the very beginning, attunement shows itself in the relationship through this person's interest in you, not just in the things that you have to say, but in everything about you. Do they pay attention?
I like that.
Do they notice the little things? Because that's really what keeps things going over time. I think the mistake that many people make is They think, well, I need to earn this person's love first and their attention first, and then I can expect them to be attuned to me.
Wow.
But if from the beginning, from the moment that the two of you start to get to know each other, whether you're dating but there is that intention of getting into a relationship. If right from the beginning, they are making you feel like you need to fight hard to be noticed by them, then that's not somebody who is willing to be attuned to you and your emotions and your thoughts.
I love that, because
big red flag.
That's a big red flag. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the little things, like someone checking in, be like, hey, you might have looked very stressed today. How are you doing? I think that goes a long way, especially in the early starts of a relationship.
And that's, sorry.
Yeah, please.
And that's how trust is built in a relationship, is that when you show me that you pay attention, then I can trust being myself around you. I don't feel like I have to hide when I'm feeling a certain way because, I know you're not going to notice. And I know it's going to hurt me when you're not going to notice. So I would rather pretend like I'm okay when I'm really not. Trust is built when the other person that you're with, you feel like you can trust them when you notice that they are paying attention to you. And you show them that they can trust you in the same way by paying attention to them, by noticing the big and little details about them. So attunement isn't to be messed with right from the beginning. It's how you show that you care.
I love that.
Yeah.
And anyone who's listening, if you're dating and you're seeing someone who is paying attention, take that as a green flag. We always talk about red flags, but we don't talk enough about green flags.
Yeah.
And that is a huge green flag for sure. And now I want to just move this conversation towards doubt, because I know, again, with this topic of people being in relationships, sometimes they have doubts. Is this person the one? Is this person my person? What would your take be on doubts? Is it normal to have doubts about a person? And when is it not normal to have doubts?
It's so normal to have doubts about the person that you're with and to wonder here and there, are they the right person for me? It's very normal to, when you see other people in relationships and then you start comparing your relationship to theirs, it's a natural human thing to do, because you always want to feel like you're doing the right thing. And so we don't compare to say they're better than me and they're better than us and we need to be just like them. It's not like that. Sorry, I feel like I got distracted. Let me repeat that. The question was, is it normal to have doubts? Yes, so I'm going to repeat that.
Okay, when is it normal to have doubts about a relationship, and when is it not normal to have doubts in a relationship?
So I'm going to change your perspective on doubt, because I think doubt has a negative connotation, but I think doubt can be very protective in relationships, because your ability to sit with yourself and say, I wonder if I'm with the right person. I wonder if I'm in the right relationship. That's actually a sign from within that your gut, your awareness, your intuition is trying to check that you are with the right person. It's trying to check that you are in the right relationship for you, that you are safe, that this is the best that you can do for yourself. So right from the beginning, a little bit of doubt, there's nothing wrong with it. Just like a little bit of anxiety before a test or an exam or something big in your life, it's helpful because it keeps you aware. So as long as you're not constantly doubtful, and if you are, then I think that's an invitation from your childhood traumas and your experiences in past relationships to figure out why it is that you can't settle in the relationship with someone. Why are you always at the doubt level? Why do you always pay attention to the littlest of bad things that they do, or the things that could be bad, and say, why did you do that? Why did you say that? Why is it that you stay at that level? Is it because you're afraid of trusting? Is it because you're afraid of being vulnerable and just settling into the relationship and saying, we are together, we are doing this together? So doubt is protective, but when there's too much of it, you have to ask yourself why, And if there's too little of it, you also have to ask yourself if that's the right thing.
That's a very interesting perspective, because you are right when I'm thinking about like this generation and the trauma that they've had and the heartbreaks they've had and the dating experiences they've had. When something healthy comes in, they may doubt that and be like, whoa, where is this level of excitement that I used to have before? But that level of excitement could just mean that it was toxic. It doesn't necessarily equate that it is something that's healthy and that's right for you. And I really love the fact that you said, if you are feeling doubt, ask yourself why that is. Is it because of that person, or is it because of something that's internal that you're working on yourself? Yeah. And thank you very much for sharing that. And I want to now shift the conversation to something that in our culture, we have this expectation that our family needs to approve of who we choose as a life partner. Yes. And I feel like a lot of people who are listening to this struggle with that. Yeah. Should I get the approval for my family? And how important is it for my family to approve for someone that I'm choosing to marry or call a life partner?
I think it's important to get the opinion of your family, and it's important to get their view based on their life experiences about what's important in a partner and what's not. But you always have to ask yourself if they have the same values that you have. Because if you want a relationship, I can't stress this enough, if you want a relationship that's different from the one that your parents had, why are you taking their opinions on who you're supposed to be with? Unless they're going to tell you, look at how much I suffered because I was a people pleaser, because I never put my foot down, because this, because that. Make sure you're with somebody who, honors your opinions and who treats you like an equal. That's really the only feedback that you should be taking from them if you want. But if you want a different relationship than the one they had, then you can't fall into the same footsteps that they fell into.
And I appreciate the whole concept of ask for their opinion and see what the opinion is and have an open mind to it. And it's interesting, the examples you mentioned, because in my head, I'm like, I don't think any immigrant parent would be that nuanced, but I could be wrong to being like, oh, maybe you're a people pleaser. Because I'm seeing it in a more, I guess, superficial level where they would maybe have more emphasis on shared culture or shared values. Like, oh, this person is from this other country in the Middle East. And so my question to you is, how important do you think it is to have a shared culture in building a healthy relationship?
I think having a shared culture could be important to sustain a relationship, but I also think that having different cultures could be important in sustaining a relationship, because it depends on whether you're a person who's comfortable with being uncomfortable and learning new things and merging into another culture and maybe teaching the person that you're with about you and where you come from and then learning from them at the same time. A relationship like that could be great for you. But if you are very stuck in your ways and you know it's going to be a problem for you to be with someone that's that different, then find somebody from your own culture. But there is no real black and white answer as to whether you should be with someone from your culture or not. I'm pretty sure most parents from our culture would say culture is super important and you should marry someone from the culture. But I'm not sure that that's the most important thing. What if you find somebody who loves and cares for you in a way that you've never experienced before, and they just happen to believe in a different religion, or they happen to have different traditions and different cultural elements, but they're not the type of person that says, unless you fully embrace where I come from and what I believe in, then I'm not going to be with you. What if they are that open-minded and say, this is where I come from, this is who I am, I hope that you accept me as I am, and I accept where you come from and who you are. Like, we're not aiming to change each other so that we could mold the other person into what we're familiar with. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned that, because if you look at back into our history, like our parents' generation, everyone kind of lived in these little cities and villages where, shared culture was such an important thing. But when we're living here and we're meeting so many different people, the shared culture has kind of changed the definition of it. And but my question now is, tying the parents element and the shared culture, is for someone who does agree with you and they have found someone who does come up from a different background or a different faith, but they might not necessarily have their parents' approval. What advice would you like to give that person? And how can they navigate that relationship?
I think you have to ask yourself, what is the purpose of having the approval of your parents? Is it because you've been trained that unless you have their approval, you can't be a good person and you won't go to heaven and you won't, all these things that we learn? Unless you please your parents, you're not going to be lucky in life. Life isn't going to go your way. We learn all these things from a very young age. So is the purpose of having the approval of your parents so that you could feel like you're good enough? Or is the purpose of having their approval coming from a place of love? I love my parents that much and it means that much to me that they approve of me. If it's coming from a place of love, but they are making you feel like unless you follow what they want for you, they're not going to approve of you, then you're coming from a place of love and they're coming from a place of control. They're coming from a place of control that is being covered with the cloak of love. They're trying to present it to you as love, but love doesn't control. Love comes unconditionally. I will love you as you do this thing for yourself, even though I might not agree with you. And I'm not talking about, your parents seeing that you're in a very bad relationship and you're not happy and you're being abused and whatever, and them saying, we really don't want you to be in this. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking in general. If you're in a relationship with somebody from a culture that your parents don't approve of, or the guy or the woman are from a family that your parents are like, we're not friends with them and we don't know anything about them, and it's a hard red line, like you can't be with this person, then ask yourself, is that really coming from a place of love? It's not. It's coming from a place of, this is my word, it's my way or the highway, as they say. And you have to ask yourself if that's how you're willing to live for the rest of your life. Because let's say you met somebody who's amazing to you and who helps you grow as a person and respects you and loves you and makes you feel like you're an equal and you matter. Let's say you found that love and you happen to listen to your parents' advice that said they don't belong to our culture or they don't share the same values here and there, and therefore if you end up with this person, we are completely cutting contact with you. And let's say you give in to that pressure and you say, I'm going to let go of this really incredible person because I don't want to lose my parents. If 10 years go by, 20 years go by, 30 years go by, and you never find a person who feels like home, like that person felt, are your parents going to go and find that person for you? Like, it is your responsibility to act as an adult once you're an adult and say, you know what? They might not agree with my decisions for myself, but this is a risk I'm willing to take for myself. Oh my God, I'm going to be so hated.
You're not gonna,
I'm going to have parents.
You're going to have so many parents being like, do not subscribe. I'm kidding.
So I think parents are listening, let me just say this. If parents are listening, you have to let go of trying to control your adult children's lives. Like, you are losing if you're not willing to adapt with the times, like especially here, because we are a mix of cultures. And when I say adapt, I don't mean leave your culture behind and melt into the culture here. That's not what I mean. I mean, Be willing to accept others the same way that you are expecting to be accepted. And that happens through action, not just through words and saying, we accept diversity. Do you actually accept it when it comes to your own children? I know many people who married people from different races and people from different religions and people from different cultures, and it was a huge deal in their family at the time. And they were able to reconcile over time, usually when a baby is involved. Like now the grandparents want to see their grandchild, but don't let it get that bad. Like, don't let the journey of your adult children finding their life partner be that difficult.
Yeah. And what's funny is if that relationship does not go well, they'll be like, it's because they're from a different culture.
Yeah.
And I appreciated this whole entire conversation. It's just a fun fact is every time I've ever put on Yalla Let's Talk, like, what topics would you want to talk about? The most common thing that people always chime in is like, hey, we want to talk about interracial, intercultural, interfaith relationships. So thank you so much for your healing words. And I'm sure a lot of people who are listening, and even parents, it may open up their perspective. So thank you for articulating it so well. There is one thing I also want to talk to you about with regards to relationships. And it starts off with a Mahmoud Darwish quote.
Okay.
So Mahmoud Darwish, Palestinian poet, and he says something so beautifully. And that is, let me remember it. It's so Mahmoud Darwish says, you won't find the same person twice, not even in the same person.
Yeah.
Don't be a stranger to someone who has seen you as a homeland. And what I love about this quote is because it acknowledges, right?
Yeah.
It acknowledges the beauty of someone changing, but at the same time, when we grow, we may not see that person the same. And as someone who is the author of a book all about change, I wanted to get your thoughts and perspectives on that.
You'll never meet the same person twice, even in the same person. Like I think I've had it memorized for a long time. Because we change so much and we learn and we go through life's pains and we go through betrayals and we go through the journey of healing ourselves after we've been backstabbed, and our understanding of people and of ourselves and of the world is constantly evolving based on all these trials that we go through. So even though we might be the same person on the inside, the way that we project ourselves into the world and the way that we allow people into our lives changes. So you might meet a person at a certain point in your life where they're an open book to you. And like you said, they offer you a space where you feel like they're home to you. They love you and accept you as you are, and they're very easily willing to be vulnerable with you. And then let's say you broke their heart, or something happened and you drifted apart and somebody else broke their heart, not just in a romantic relationship, but maybe they went through something where they were misrepresented, their character was assassinated in some way, and now they've learned to cover themselves up. They've learned to guard up and not let people in so easily. And now you meet them again after all of this happened. They might be the exact same person on the inside, but they've learned something. They've developed a way to protect themselves. And you might be expecting that they're going to be the exact same person with you, but they simply can't be because they've lived through something in life. And you aren't the same person that's coming back to them either. You have also gone through certain things in life, and you've learned certain things, and you've learned maybe to be more sensitive to the way that other people show you themselves. And so you're going to notice, oh, they've changed. Maybe it's not so much that they've changed on a core level. Maybe they've changed the way that they communicate and the way that they allow the world to see them, just like you've changed as well.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
It does. And my follow-up to that is, what advice would you want to give someone who is seeing someone changing?
it's so hard to um it's so hard to be supportive of your partner changing right in front of you, because it's scary. You think, what if they leave me? What if they discover this new thing or this new way of living or this new passion of theirs, and what if I don't align with that anymore and they walk away and our relationship falls apart? It's really hard to wake up every day and see that the person that you're with is evolving, and maybe they're learning new things, and they're showing interests in this and that, and now they have new hobbies, and there's a part of you that feels like you're on unsteady ground because there's something new and unfamiliar that's coming into your relationship and into your life. But it's so important to allow yourself to sit with that discomfort and say, I'm feeling extremely uncomfortable and scared with the way that my partner is changing, and with this new routine that they have or that we have as a result of their changes in life. It's very uncomfortable, it's very scary, but if I choose to love someone, then I choose to love them as they are going through changes. I choose to love them as they fall and break down and as they rise and soar, not just during the things that make me feel better about myself. You know, you have to be willing to be there for them during the dark and the great times. And both of those things are changes. But usually when we see that passion in the other person towards something else, we think, oh, that passion that they've developed is taking away from the passion that they have for us. Mm-hmm. And it's important to say to yourself, this is really scary and I hate it, but it's only because it's taking me out of what's familiar to me. Mm-hmm. And I choose to love the person I'm with as they're changing, as they're evolving. And if it happens that I don't belong to the new, changed, evolved life that they have for them, then I trust that I will be able to build another one for myself as well.
So what I appreciated about what you just mentioned right now is you're looking at a relationship and as people as not static, but we're always growing and we're always evolving. And you have to go into a relationship knowing that people are going to grow. So like when people are saying it's like, you've changed, of course you've changed, but are you changing for like in terms of being emotionless or being someone who is not willing to put an effort in the relationship? Or are you changing because they're just growing and their values may be changing and evolving? And so you have to understand that nuance and accept the fact that once you enter the relationship, that person is going to grow just like you are also going to grow.
Yeah.
And accept also maybe, and this is a very harsh reality, and I know people don't like to talk about this often, but you may also grow apart as well.
True.
Right?
Yes.
And for someone, and I guess I will end this segment before we go to the next one, is the Melodies and Mindsets, stay tuned, is with regards to any advice you have for someone who is realizing that the person they love is now growing apart from them.
Before I answer that question, I do want to say, when you asked me, how do you deal with a partner who's changing? In my mind, it went to like they're changing, as in they're changing the way they live their life, and they're developing a new passion, or they've decided to go back to school or whatever, things like that. I didn't think of it as they're changing in a way where they used to show you affection and they don't anymore. They used to pay attention and they don't anymore. When your partner changes in those ways and you feel them slipping away from you, that's where that attunement part comes in. You pay attention because you know how they show their love, and they're not showing their love in that way anymore. You know how they show you that they care about you, and they're not showing you in those same ways anymore. It's very important to vocalize how you're feeling to them as a result of those changes. And a person who is really invested in you in the long run will listen to that and say, you're right. I've been so pulled away by these other things I'm doing in my life, or maybe we got to that part of the relationship where we're just so comfortable with each other that I forgot how important it is to do those little things that I used to do before. They will acknowledge how you feel. But a person who isn't willing to change will tell you, maybe they'll tell you what you want to hear, but their behavior won't change. Or they will tell you, why is that even important? I'm with you. Why do I need to show you in these other ways that I only needed to do in order to get you? Why do I need to do those things anymore? It's like, is your goal just to get into a relationship, or is your goal to have a relationship that makes you feel loved and cared for and supported and seen and heard through time?
Wow.
That's what we should be going for.
Is your goal to have a relationship or actually be in a relationship? Yeah. That's going to go viral. I'll tell you from now. I'm going to make a prediction that one will go viral for sure. Because I'm
sure it will.
Because I think it resonates with a lot of people. Like we see everyone, like we see relationships being romanticized a lot, as in like this thing that everyone should have. But do you actually want to be in one? And being in a relationship requires a lot of effort, communication. And I like that how you actually stressed on the fact that you're looking at how a person is behaving, that concept of attunement, and then you're communicating. And that's what a healthy relationship looks like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some people don't notice. Sorry, my stomach. I don't know if the microphone picks that up.
Are you good?
Yes, I'm good. What was I going to say? What were we talking about?
Attunement, changing.
Yeah.
Advice if someone's changing.
Esther Perel says, do you want to have a love story or a life story with someone? And really, loving someone and committing to them is committing to a life story with them. Because a love story is just, it sounds just romantic all the time and you know, the Instagram kind of relationship that you see. But a life story means that you see all the good and the bad in that person. You're committed to going through the rough times and through the great times. And what I mean by the rough times isn't, you know, going through a person consistently cheating on you. That's not a rough time to get through in a relationship. A rough time could be that a child that you have together got sick, or one of you got sick, or somebody's having difficulties with their mental health and the other person is there to support them. That's what you're committing to when you're committing to somebody, is to be there through the ups and downs and to be there through the times that are really boring because there isn't something exciting every single day. And one of the things that really helps for people who are wondering, like, how do I stop this fixation on having something new in my relationship that makes me feel like I'm in love and this is the right relationship? Get off social media, because you are consciously and subconsciously ingesting content that's telling you you are not in a good relationship. You don't get flowers every week. You don't get this or that as often as I do. You start unconsciously comparing yourself to everybody else and you start feeling worse. Get off social media. Stop comparing your relationship to others and ask yourself the most important question. Are you happy in this relationship? Does it work for you? That's all that matters.
I love that. And absolutely, I think comparison is the thief of joy, as they always say. And social media, looking at your friends, no one knows what's actually going behind closed doors. So really just focus on yourself and the relationship you're in and ask yourself the right questions. That's what I'm hearing from this conversation. So thank you so much, Najwa. I want to now shift the end of this conversation to a new segment that we're going to be calling Melodies and Mindsets with Najwa. So this whole segment is going to be about songs that we listen to. And sometimes we're now looking at the words. And I'm going to start off by asking you, is there a song that you listen to that you're like, hey, maybe I want to change the words into something else a little bit more powerful?
I've been thinking about this one for a long time. I think ever since I started listening to it, something about it, I identified with it, but something inside of me said, for me, it's the opposite. And it's Lose You to Love Me by Selena Gomez, where she says, I needed to lose you to love me. I do believe that sometimes you need to get rid of the toxic people in your life in order for you to be able to really see the value that you have and fall back in love with yourself. Because sometimes we have people in our lives who really cloud our vision of who we are. And they put us in a place where they are constantly criticizing us or pointing out all the bad things about us. So it's really hard for us to see ourselves through our own eyes because we are seeing ourselves through their eyes. And so it takes losing them to love ourselves. But also, why can't it be I needed to love me to lose you? Like I needed to love myself enough to be able to say, I don't want you in my life anymore. Sometimes when people struggle in really toxic relationships, they know that the person is bad for them, but they feel like they just can't let go. What they need to do is start investing more of their time looking into ways to love themselves and looking into ways to feel like they're nourished. Maybe it's by finding friends who really empower them and lift them up, or maybe it's by following a passion of theirs that they've always wanted to follow. And the more and more time they invest in themselves, the more that leads to them seeing themselves through their own eyes. And then they look at this person who's really bad for them and they say, I don't know why you see me that way, because that's not who I am. And because you're not willing to see me for who I am, I'm losing you. I'm letting you go. So sometimes it works that I needed to lose you to love me, but sometimes it's I needed to love me to lose you.
I love that. And self-love can look like saying no to a person and actually walking away. That's an act of self-love. That's an act of strength. I want to get your thoughts on another song, if that's okay. Because first of all, justice for Billie Eilish, should have gotten a Grammy. And I want to bring it back to my girl, Billie.
Amazing.
She is amazing.
Yeah.
And one song that always sticks out to me is Wildflower. And she says, let me remember exactly.
I wanted to talk about that one today.
Oh, did you? Amazing.
Let's see if it's the same line.
Let's see. I'm curious now. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, so I kept it to myself. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, so I kept it to myself.
Yes.
Was that the line you were thinking about?
That's one of them.
Okay.
The other one is, I know that you love me. You don't need to remind me.
Ooh.
Yes. So I know you didn't mean to hurt me, so I kept it to myself.
Yeah. And the question I was thinking about is like, when should we start communicating something to our partner if we know that, hey, they didn't mean to do it? And if I communicated this, if I said something, it's just going to cause more drama. It's going to cause more hurt.
Yes. Tell me the line exactly as it is so that I could repeat it, or I might have it here. I do have it searched here.
I know you didn't mean to hurt me, so I kept it to myself.
I know you didn't mean to hurt me, so I kept it to myself. If you hurt me, but you didn't mean it, does that mean that I'm not hurt? So if you backstabbed me, but you didn't mean it, does that mean that I don't have a knife in my back that I need to take out and heal from? Just because somebody didn't intend to hurt you, it doesn't mean that the damage wasn't done. Just because somebody didn't intend to exclude you or leave you behind or disrespect you or not consider you, it doesn't mean that they didn't hurt you. So this whole thing about looking at people's intentions and then saying to ourselves, well, their intentions are more important than my feelings. But their actions caused you to feel something. So why wouldn't you verbalize that? Or why wouldn't you bring that up? If you were to hurt somebody, but you really didn't intend to, and they came to you and they said, I know you didn't mean it, but like this really hurt my feelings. I guarantee you would be like, I'm so sorry. I really, truly didn't mean to, but I see how that would have hurt you. And I'm going to be more careful next time. We can expect from our partners and from the people who are closest to us to be able to sit with us telling them how their behaviors made us feel. Just because we know that they didn't mean it, it doesn't mean that we keep quiet about it.
Absolutely. And then that's when you resent someone. You keep building it and building it. You're like, oh, I'm not going to say anything. And then years come down the road and then boom, everything explodes.
And they're like, where did that come from? I've done this for so long. And you're like, it always bothers me, but I just know that you don't mean it when you say that, or you don't mean it when you do that, or you don't mean to hurt me, but it hurts me.
It hurts. So
just say it.
Yeah. I'm curious, what was the other line that you wanted?
Yeah. The other line was, I know that you love me. You don't need to remind me. No, remind me. Like, tell me how you love me. Tell me how you feel about me. If you are somebody whose love language is words of affirmation, you need words. If you are somebody whose love language is acts of service, you need somebody to show you through their ability to make your day easier or better by doing something that they know will mean so much to you. You need that. So it's not enough to know that somebody loves you.
I like that.
It could be for some people, but I'm speaking for myself and for millions out there. I know that you love me. You should remind me.
Right. Anyone who's listening, start reminding your partner, especially, guys, if you're listening to this, call her beautiful, say, I miss you, and validate that, because it is nice to remind someone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pick up your phone, send them a text, give them a call, do whatever. It doesn't make you less of a man or a woman to invest your time in showing the people that you love them. Like, that's what life is about. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, absolutely. Just remind them that you love them.
Yeah.
Not even just romantically, but even family as well.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you, is there another song that you're like, hey, Hani, I want to change the lyrics to that song as well to make it a little bit more attuned? I guess maybe that's the word of today of what dating is like now.
Changing the lyrics. There is a part at the end of Billie Eilish's TV where she says, maybe I'm the problem. You know that part at the end where she goes, maybe I'm the problem. That part?
I don't know the song.
You don't know
I'm
it?
like a
You've
Billie
heard
Eilish
it before.
But
it's one of her most played
Okay.
songs. There's no way you don't know it.
I'm going to get canceled. I'm just saying,
Like,
grab me for a Billie.
She goes, don't know where you are right now. Did you see
What's the song?
on TV? It's called TV.
Oh, it's called TV?
Yeah.
From her new album?
No, from the one right before.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. You've heard it before.
I've maybe.
You've heard it.
But anyways, let's talk about the song.
There is a part at the end of that song where she says, maybe I'm the problem. And she keeps repeating it. She keeps repeating it. She keeps repeating it. And I used to hear that part and think, yeah, like maybe I'm the problem. Maybe my way of seeing the world is the problem. Maybe my way of melting into the lives of the people that I care so much about makes me the problem. Maybe my inability to operate in life when I'm not feeling loved makes me the problem. Like I would really fall into that. And I was listening to it recently and I was like, you know what? Maybe I am the problem, but maybe I am the problem because I'm in the wrong place for me. The right place for you never makes you feel like you're the problem. You feel like you're the problem when you react to certain things that happen in your environment that are really bad. And all of a sudden you're the rebel. You're the one who spoke up. But you're in a place that's treating you in a way that's not good for you. Of course you're going to be the problem. Like maybe you're the problem because you care too much. And maybe you're the problem because you expect people to tell you the truth the same way that you would say the truth. Maybe you're the problem because you're not willing to see people for who they are when they show you who they are, because there's a part of you that really believes in that good part in them. Is that a problem? Do you know what I mean? There's a play on words that you can use there. Is that an issue that you are like that?
Because I love the fact that you said that, because I do think for a lot of people, it's the environment you're in, and you know, maybe that's why you are quote unquote a problem. And then at that other time, like, I'm just reflecting. I'm like, okay, even, you know, acknowledging and being accountable for myself and seeing and observing as well. Sometimes you are the problem because maybe you need a little bit of healing. Maybe there are things that from your past trauma. So I guess my question follow up to that is, how do you distinguish between whether you are the problem, as another homegirl of ours, Taylor Swift, would say, or whether the problem is your environment and your surrounding?
An environment that's supportive of your healing will never make you feel like you're the problem, even though you might have problematic behaviors and ways of dealing with things. Because we're all human, we're all dealing with something, we're all healing from something. In a supportive environment, an environment that is conducive to your healing, you're never made to feel like you're too much or too little or too problematic or too controversial or too this or too that. You're looked at as, this is who you are. You're struggling with this thing. What can I do to help you?
I love that.
So it's stop putting yourself in environments that make you feel like you are the problem. We are all problems in some ways. No one's perfect. We're all dealing with something. We're all healing from something. So make sure you surround yourself with people who, instead of making you feel like you're the problem, they ask, how can I help? What's going on? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What did this bring up for you?
Again,
so maybe,
back to attunement.
Yeah, exactly. They're paying attention and they're willing to do something based on what they pay attention to, instead of looking at you and saying, what's wrong with you? So maybe instead of saying, maybe I'm the problem, maybe I'm in the wrong place.
Wow. That's going to be Billie Eilish's new song. But thank you so much, Najwa. I can talk to you for hours about relationships and so much more. And I want to just conclude this episode just to summarize what we talked about and just ask you one final question. But for anyone who has been listening to the episode, we really did dive deep here into the concept of attunement and green flags in a relationship. We also talked about if you want that family approval and this whole idea of like, is a shared culture super important? We also, and this is something I really appreciated us diving more into, is the whole idea of someone changing as you grow, as well as self-doubt. When is doubt healthy and when is doubt not healthy? And then we concluded this with Melodies and Mindsets with Najwa, where a lot of the artists are going to be listening to this and they're going to be taking some inspo. I know that for sure.
I need to write another book of poetry. I was thinking about
that today. I love that. You should. Yeah. You should, 100%. I was like, even when I was mentioning the Mahmoud Darwish quote, and I was like, oh, wow, like this is a poet from our past with a modern day poet, like who is current. So that was very even beautiful to see that exchange, right, happen in front of my eyes live.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And then the last question, just to leave the audience with, it is, what is your best piece of advice for someone who is currently in a relationship?
Let me think. Don't let your goal be whether this person chooses you. Let your goal be whether they are a person that you would choose for yourself.
Wow. Absolutely, because you're right. A lot of times people start focusing, is this person choosing me, rather than, do I even want to be with this person?
Because then what you end up doing is you look at what they deem as worthy of being chosen, and you start changing yourself into that. So it feels like you're constantly running a race to get their love and to get their approval. But instead, ask yourself if they are a person that you would want to be with? Is this the relationship that you want to be in? Because that need to get someone's love, it's addictive because you feel like you've won something. But are they the prize? Ask yourself that question.
You are the prize.
Yeah, you're the prize and so are they. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself if they are truly a prize, or is it just the constant making you feel like you're not good enough? And maybe if you get them to like you or love you, you'll feel like you're good enough. Is that what you're falling for?
And this is could be a whole other topic about like the intermittent reinforcement, the hot and cold. And when next time, yeah, because you're absolutely right. And so stay tuned for another episode about intermittent reinforcement. But thank you so much, Najwa Zebian. For anyone who has still not followed Najwa Zebian, go and subscribe, follow her. Her books are amazing. I read so many of your books and I've always been in awe. My favorite personally is Welcome Home, but I also loved Letting Go, and don't forget, change is the only constant.
Yes.
So thank you everybody who has been listening, and it would mean a lot to me and the Yalla community if you can just subscribe, whether you're on YouTube or follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcast. And if you like this episode, please don't forget to share it with a friend. Yalla, bye. Woohoo, we're done one episode.
Yes, it was great.